I'm going to explain about the operating system or the OS. OS is a software consisting of programs and data that runs on the computers and manage the computer hardware and provides common services for the efficient execution of various application software. For hardware functions such as input and output and memory allocation, the operating system acts as an intermediary between application programs and the computer hardware, although the application code is usually executed directly by the hardware, but will frequently code the OS or be interrupted by it. Operating systems are found on almost any devices that contains a computer, from cellular phones and video game consoles to supercomputers and web servers. An operating system consists of many parts. One of the most important components is the kernel, which controls the low-level processes that the average user usually cannot see. It controls how memory is read and written, the order in which processes are executed, how information is received and sent by the devices like the monitor, keyboard, and mouse, and deciding how to interpret information received by network. The user interface is a component that interacts with the computer user directly, allowing them to control and use programs. User interface may be graphical with icons and a digital, or textual with a command line. Application programming interfaces provide services and code libraries that let application developers write modular code, reusing well-defined programming sequences in user space libraries or in operating system itself, which features are considered part of the operating system is defined differently in various operating systems. For example, Microsoft Windows considered its user interface to be part of the operating system, while many versions of Linux do not. Example of popular modern operating systems for personal computer are the Microsoft Windows, Mac OS X, and the GNU Linux. First is the Microsoft Windows. So Windows 7 shown here is the newest release of Windows. Microsoft Windows is a family of proprietary operating system most commonly used on personal computers. It is the most common family of operating systems for the personal computer, with about 90% of the market share. Currently, the most widely used version of the Windows family is the Windows XP, released on October 25, 2001. The newest version is the Windows 7 for personal computers and Windows Server 2008 R2 for servers. The second is the Mac OS X, the standard user interface of Mac OS X. Mac OS X is the line of a partially proprietary graphical operating system developed, marketed, and sold by Apple Inc., the latest of which is preloaded on all currently shipping Macintosh computers. Mac OS X is the successor to the original Mac OS, which had been Apple's primary operating system since 1982. Unlike its predecessor, Mac OS X is a Unix operating system built on technology that had been developed at NEXT through the second half of the 1980s and up until Apple purchased the company in early 1997. The operating system was first released in 1999 as Mac OS X Server 1.0 with a desktop-oriented version Mac OS X V10.0 following in March 2001. Since then, 6 more distinct client and server editions of Mac OS X have been released, the most recently Mac OS X V10.6, which was first made available on August 28, 2009. Released on Mac OS X are named after Big Cat, The current version of Mac OS X is Snow Leopard. The last is Linux Linux and GNU. So Ubuntu is a commonly sub-distribution of Linux. Linux is the generic name for the Unix-like operating system that can be used on a wide range of devices, from supercomputers to wristwatches. The Linux kernel is released under an open source license, so anyone can read and modify its code. It has been modified to run a large variety of electronics, although estimates suggest it is used only 0.5 to 2% of all personal computers. It has been widely adopted for use in servers and embedded systems, such as cell phones, for example. Linux has superseded Unix in most places and is used on the 10 most powerful supercomputers in the world. So the GNU project is a mass collaboration of programmers who seek to create a completely free and open operating system that was similar to the Unix but completely original code. It was started in 1983 by Richard Stallman, and it's responsible for many of the parts of most Linux variants. For this reason, Linux is often called GNU or Linux. Thousands of pieces of software for virtually every operating system are licensed under the GNU or General Public License. Meanwhile, the Linux kernel began as a side project of Linus Torvalds, a university student from Finland. In 1991, Torvalds began work on it and posted information about this project on the news group for computer students and programmers. He received a wave of support and volunteers who ended up creating a full-fledged kernel. Programmers from GNU took notice, and members of both the project worked to integrate the finished GNU parts into the Linux kernel in order to create a full-fledged operating system. So other older operating systems which are still used in niche market include OS/2 from IBM and Microsoft, Mac OS, the non-Unix precursor to Apple's Mac OS X, BOS or XP-300, some most notable Hyco or RISC OS, Morphos, and Amiga OS/4 continue to be developed as minority platforms to enthusiast communities and specialist applications. OpenVMS, formerly from DEC, is still under active development by Hewlett-Packard, yet other operating systems are used almost exclusively in academia for operating system education or to do research on operating system concepts. A typical example of a system that fulfills both roles is Minix or MINIX, while, for example, Singularity is used purely for research. So that's all. Thank you.